That's good. Okay, well, I show 12 o'clock on the clock, so thank you for everyone who's here, our 27 participants today, one of our really good Zoom turnout. This is a recording announcement, so let me, I should have a sign up to say visually, you are being recorded. So everyone know that you're being recorded. If you would, once things start, if you mute yourself, that'll be great. Otherwise, I'll mute you if there's noise coming up or if you're talking. And then if you want to chime in, you will be able to go to the reactions in the button, the bottom, and you can do a thumbs up or you can do a clap, and I'll see that and we can talk. Or you can do a chat. You can do a chat to me. You can do a chat to Jeanette, or you can do a chat to all if you have a question, and then she could decide whether she wants to take them as they come or save them to the end. But you do have a chat function. You can see that if you're on the desktop, it's down in the bottom and it's that little window.
And the reactions are where?
The reactions are to the right of that. On the desktop, there's a smiley face with a plus sign and it says reactions, but they disappear when you move the mouse. So you may have to jiggle your mouse around or move your finger around to get the options up. But that's one of the nice things about this feature is you can make those symbols come up on your window. Up in the upper right, there's a little picture of like a waffle. And often if you tap on that, it'll bring everybody up in little Hollywood Squares windows so you can see everybody. And that's helpful because as a speaker, I like feedback. So if somebody's talking and I see them doing this, then I know to stop and say, Brian, what did I get wrong? And then he could correct me, or if I see somebody nodding, I know, oh, this is something people are interested in. So that's a useful, Alan's totally interested in what I'm saying right now. Yeah, so that's a good thing. So we have some general announcements, but let me preview a couple things coming up. As you know, next Friday at 6 o'clock is the VMC Club. So Raphael will be leading us in a scenario, and they have added some new features from a company called Bold Method, which has some excellent online training tools. And the last month when we did it, there was actually a quiz. And so we did a scenario, and then we took a quiz on how to read METARs and some of the weather forecasting data. And it was really good because it challenged you based on what you've just gone through a scenario. Would you have been able to read the weather and interpreted it correctly to help you make a decision? So the VMC Club is getting good, and it actually does pretty well in a virtual environment. You lose some of the interaction, the freewheeling discussion, but you get a lot of learning out of it. So VMC Club is really good. I want to know, Brian Good, if you've got a second, can you update the group on the what the Property Association has done with our 300-year-old oak tree, if you're there?
I'm here. I didn't get the question again.
Would you mind just giving an update on what the POA and the chapter are doing together on the big oak shade tree?
Well, we went together to do a weight reduction up in the umbrella, which they completed a couple weeks ago. They did some more of it yesterday. And they installed yesterday 2 old utility poles underneath the big limbs to hold them up. And Monday they'll come back and strap them in place, and so they won't bounce off of the poles if there's a wind comes up. So we were splitting the cost of that, and we don't have the final bill yet. And we're going to use metal poles, but the price of the metal poles seemed like they doubled, so we went with the wooden utility poles, which should make the job a little less money. And it discovered a wire running close to the tree trunk, and which they cut yesterday, but we couldn't figure out where it was going to or coming from. But there's no power to either side of the wire, so they capped them off, and we'll check it out probably tomorrow to see if we can figure that out. And that's all for that.
Okay, super. So your board of directors and your chapter leaders also meet the week before we have our gatherings, and That's where the treasury report goes out. We talk about membership. So the budget remains healthy. The membership numbers stood at 150. Ian Harrich has volunteered to be our website coordinator in terms of helping with content. So if you go onto our chapter website, and I ask that you do EAA35.org, and you see something that either you think, oh, there's more current information, or you have a suggestion, if you use your membership directory, look up Ian Harrich. He spells it Ian, I-A-N, Harrich, and just call him or send him a note with a suggestion for something on the website, and then he'll work to get that done. And then Chuck, do you want to give an update on the B-17 activity?
Sure. Are you done with your announcements? I'll just go ahead and proceed if you're ready.
Just when we get done with you, I'd like to hand the mic over to Frank Covington to do a scholarship item with Evan.
All right. Well, welcome from not Kosh. So yeah, the announcements that I have from the vice president side are that unfortunately the B-17 event for October will not be held. You know, we were back and forth with EAA for quite a while, and I expected them to cancel the entire fall, and basically they've canceled the Texas tour. It's just they just can't make it happen. And honestly, I'm not brokenhearted about that. Yeah. You're paying a lot of money to go ride in the B-17. Sitting 6 feet apart with a mask on your face, restricted to your seat, is just not really what you're paying for. So we're going to try to do it again next year. No promises. We're going to try. And hopefully that will work out. We also put in the newsletter that there are a number of opportunities for people to volunteer with the chapter. We really need for folks to do that, okay? I mean, you know, as you know, all of us are a bit distanced right now. So we've tried to break up those things that need to be done into small group projects that you can do kind of self-paced with one or two other people maybe, but without avoiding the big groups. So please step up and help with those projects, please. They're not hard things. They're just things that really do need to be done. I wanted to mention that the Hangar Hotel Diner up in Fredericksburg is now open Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays from 8 to 2, and that the Hangar 6 Cafe over in Uvalde has put on a big outdoor dining area. Right. So if you're looking for a fly-out idea, those are good places to go. Now that the days are starting to get shorter again, we will hopefully be able to restart some outdoor movie nights. So watch your email for that. This is not going to be a publicly advertised kind of thing, and it'll be all BYOB, you know, physically distanced, safe kind of thing. But we can sit outside and watch a movie now that it's getting dark a little bit earlier. So watch your email for that. No promises as to date and time just exactly yet. Okay, back to you, Darren, and then we'll go into the talk.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute, Darren.
You're muted.
Darren is muted, but I think Darren was trying to go over to Frank. So
yeah, I had too many windows open. Yeah, Frank Covington, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Darren. Welcome everybody to this month's meeting. The news from the scholarship program is EAA this year, they came up with 2020 with another $1 million from the Ray Foundation for scholarships. Chapter 35 applied for one and we were accepted. We submitted notice for open applicants and received 11 applicants. From those 11, one was selected, and so we're proceeding on with this individual, and he's a well-deserving person. I think most of you know him. His name is Evan Carroll. He's planning on obtaining a glider certificate. So he's well on his way, and he's got $6,000 from EAA to get him to the end. So,
All right.
Ryan or Evan, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you plan to get to your goal here.
So yeah, I figured out about EAA from just a random Facebook post whenever I just turned 13. So I took my very first Young Eagles flight at Stinson, and I was actually able to go up with Ron O'Day, and that was my very first flight ever. And that was really fun in the back of his Citabria, and it was very smooth takeoff, very nice landing, and it just had me really interested in it. So I joined the chapter, and I'd been going to the movie nights and stuff, and I saw in the newsletter that there was an ad for Anderson Aviation. So I started going there, and I got about 18 hours in a Cherokee 140, and that was all paid for just by mowing lawns, and I did curb paintings for a while. So like the house numbers on the curb. So I eventually had enough money for a $250 flight lesson every maybe 3 weeks to a month. So by the time I was going again, my skills were kind of atrophying. So it was just kind of not worth it. So then I started trying to save up like enough to do 3 or 4 flight lessons at a time, but it just really wasn't working out. And at the Christmas party, Alan Inks flew up in his motor glider from Bernie, and he was kind enough to give me a flight, and that's how I figured out about motor glider, and I was hooked. And since you could solo at 14, it was pretty perfect for me. And so he gave me a little brochure to go talk to my flight instructor, Dave White, at Bernie. And so I've been doing that for a little while now. So I hope to get my first solo done pretty soon. Next would just be my written glider's license. Then I'll do my private, most likely still at Bernie with the services that they have there. And maybe go on to a little regional like Boutique Air, since they have like those PC-12s, the single engine turboprops. And this scholarship was just really great because it's a huge pressure lifted off my shoulders now that my training is not dependent on like when I earn money. And my skills were deteriorating over time, and it was just it was taking me too long to earn money. And then by the time I was going back to the flight school, I would have to work on the same thing that I worked on last time. It's a great privilege to live so close to a organization like Chapter 35 with a program like this, since I literally just live 3 or 4 minutes away by bike. So I can just bike over to the airport whenever the Airpark needs some mowing, or if there's a event going on for Chapter 35. It's pretty great, and I'm just really thankful for this scholarship.
Hey, Evan, how old are you?
I turned 15 in 3 days.
I'm not sure of the age requirements, but some of you others may know, American Airlines and Southwest Airlines both have flight academies where they take young people and run them through all the way to ATP everything and pay for it. But I'm not sure the requirements, but you might want to check into that.
Let me see here.
Yeah, that would be pretty great. I have heard about that program. It's called Destination 225 for Southwest Airlines, and Southwest would be a pretty great airline to work for. But you have to be 18 whenever you go into the program, and then they'll make you a first officer at 1,500 hours. But all until that point, you're working as a CFI for them, training other new pilots. But really, the only thing holding me back right now is my age.
Right.
And that's why we've actually had to wait this long to get the scholarship thing going, is because for EAA corporate, they see you have to be 15 to get the glider scholarship. And it's 3 days until I turn 15. So then we'll be able to do the kickoff meeting and get the whole thing going, which will be pretty fun.
You'll make it.
And don't you wish you were that squared away at Evan's age? That's phenomenal.
Say, Evan, tell everybody about your scholastic progress, because that's eye-opening to me.
So I went to a private Christian school for all the way until 5th grade, and my mom said she felt like I was being held back by the limitations of the school. So since 5th grade, I've been homeschooled and I've been doing dual credit programs. So after this semester, I'll have 36 credits at St. Philip's College, and yeah, it's going to be pretty great. And I hope to go on to get my Associates of Science from Alamo Colleges, and then from there transfer to either the University of North Dakota or go to Embry-Riddle.
That's awesome. Awesome, Evan. And I want to thank Frank Covington. This has been a long process, but Frank's personal relationships with the staff in Wisconsin have helped, particularly with Dave Lighting, the program manager, and Frank's maintained a robust communication with him, told him about what we're doing. And the fact that you all have made us a gold medal chapter, top 2% in the nation, also means we get special consideration from headquarters. So that's been great. If you volunteer for a leadership position, particularly an officer or a board member, you'll also be supported in going back to Wisconsin for some, they call it leadership training, but really what it is you get to understand the programs and meet the staff there. So that's another reason to step up and take on one of the positions or activities, because once you know these people in Wisconsin, they're very eager to help the chapters and very personable and easy to work with. And Chuck and I and Frank and others have gone back, and Ron have gone back to headquarters to get support and help from them, and they've just been super. So thank you, Frank, and thank you, Evan. Frank, anything else on the scholarship front?
No, it's just that we have $4,000 remaining that we can use towards another scholarship if we can come up with some additional funds somehow. So I'll be looking for ways to do that, and maybe we can get another youngster in the cockpit. That's what we want to do.
Okay, super. All right, with that, I want to turn it over to Chuck, and he can introduce our speaker and our subject for today. Chuck?
Well, okay, so welcome again. So we're going to start off, Darren mentioned the kind of personal relationships with the folks up at EAA headquarters. And so we're going to start off with just a few minutes from Charlie Becker, who is our chapter representative up there. He is, I consider him a personal friend. I think many of us do. And the folks up there have been just super helpful, and that relationship is good. And I really encourage all of you all to get up to Wisconsin if you ever get a chance. Let's see, I need for Darren to turn on the screen sharing, please.
I've got your spotlight video. Let's see.
You've got to turn on the screen sharing, please.
Okay, go ahead. See if you can share your screen.
Yeah, we don't actually need the spotlight video. We just need the screen sharing. There we go.
Okay.
All righty.
Welcome to this month's chapter video magazine. I'm Charlie Becker, Director of Chapters and Homebrew Community Manager at EAA. And I'm shooting this on Monday of August. So we are back in the offices. We are not having any visitors, and the state of Wisconsin just put a statewide mask order in place. So things are evolving here, as I'm sure they are in your area. The good news is that the museum did open this morning, and it's limited to smaller groups, and of course wearing masks and things like that under the state order. But we are open for the first time since we shut it down back in March. So that's good news, and I'll call it progress. We also had a very enjoyable Spirit of Aviation Week. I hope most of you got a chance to tune into some of that great content. If not, there's a large amount of forums that we did and other information that's online, and you should definitely check it out. Also, the chapter award ceremony was recorded and available as well. Now, on the good news front, the Ray Foundation has stepped up and offered a $1 million challenge for EA donors to they will match the first $1 million of additional or new contributions to EAA to help us during these challenging financial times. So if you've ever thought about donating to the EAA, we'd sure appreciate it at this point. And that runs through the end of February. So we'd appreciate you considering donating to EAA. Now, something new, we got a lot of new stuff going on. The Home Built webinar series is a new offering. It's going to be the first Tuesday of every month. You can bank on a webinar specifically around home building. And I've already got Vans, Zenith, Rands, the $500 HUD lined up, and we'll be adding more. And that'll just be an ongoing program. It's a great opportunity to learn about some topic. So look forward to working with the kit manufacturers on that. Now, on the chapter front, we do have a webinar coming up on August 11th about obtaining charitable status, public charitable status, and filling out the form 1023EZ for a chapter. So if you've always been thinking about doing that at the chapter level, tune into the webinar, and I think you'll find out that it's fairly straightforward, easy process. Now, a couple of months ago, I mentioned a teaser that Lincoln Electric Company had committed to giving us a TIG welder to give away to chapters, and we were going to do that as part of AirVenture 2020, but with that canceled, they're still giving us that TIG welder. So here's how it's going to work. Any chapter that wants to have a chance at winning this great TIG welder, they have to enter online. So just go to ea.org/chapters and enter on behalf of your chapter. So that'll give you one entry into the contest. If you want additional entries, any chapter that has an EA technical counselor or flight advisor will get an additional entry. If you have any of your chapter members utilizing the EA Builders Log, that will get you one additional entry. And if you have had a reimbursement through our EA Tool Crib program since its inception, that will get you another entry. So there's potentially 4 ways that a chapter could have their name in the hat. And we will run that from now until November 20th. And at that point, we'll pull out the lucky chapter that gets an awesome TIG welder. I actually own the exact same TIG welder and use it pretty much every time I work on my project. So it's a great tool for your chapter to add to your tool crib at the chapter level. Now, you just probably have started to hear some things about what we're calling our Young Eagle workshops. These are turnkey day camp type of programming for your chapter, where we provide you with the materials, the hands-on projects for you to host a day camp for youth from the ages of about 11 to 17. We're just starting to roll this out. The materials will be available in September, and there's a webinar on this one to go into it in more detail September 24th. And I'll probably go into this more detail next month as well about this new program. It's been a great effort. We've taken some of the stuff that chapters were already using and turned it into something that can just be picked up and run with your local chapter. And then the last piece of good news that I wanted to share is that we have completely revamped the data in our EAA Chapter Speakers Bureau. So we went back and we confirmed with all of our existing speakers, and we cleaned out anybody who didn't respond. And we now have 200 speakers in there. Again, they've all just recently confirmed their participation. And under the advanced search feature, we added a checkbox that says whether that speaker is willing to do a virtual talk. So if you're like most chapters nowadays and you're kind of stuck doing some of the online meetings rather than gathering in person, this is a great opportunity to bring in a speaker that you would never ever be able to get locally to show up at your chapter. So check that out. I think it's going to be a very valuable resource. And if you're a speaker, make sure you volunteer to be in that database. Because without the volunteer speakers, it does, the concept doesn't work. So that's all I wanted to share this month. Hang in there, do what you can to support aviation at the local level, and enjoy the rest of this month's chapter video magazine.
All righty, I am back, I think.
You are.
Okay, all right, very good. So today, we are really honored to turn this thing off. Temporary technical difficulties. We are very honored this month to welcome Jeanette Hunt, who is going to tell us about what it took to build San Geronimo Airpark. You know, I mean, each of us has benefited from the dream of a small group of pilots and their families who just invested so much into building the airpark that we all fly out of. And so Jeanette ran this by me a couple weeks ago, and I was just amazed. Indeed, I think that she is going to describe not just the dream of those 10 pilots, but the dream of probably pretty much all of us. So with that, let's welcome Jeanette Hunt.
Yay, round of applause. See, that's the round. See that?
Okay, so Jeanette, hit your share screen and you've got it.
Okay, where is that?
Down in the center bottom, that big green
Oh,
thing.
there we
down
are.
the bottom.
Okay, very good. Okay.
It may give you an option of which window you want to share.
This one, I think.
And double click it, and then, yeah, there you go.
All right.
Perfect.
Perfect. Now hit your show, your slideshow button, and you're good. Down at the bottom left-hand corner, that projector screen.
Let's see. Slideshow. There we go. Okay. Very good. Well, San Geronimo Airpark was established in June 17th, 1981. The founders paid $174,000 for the 86 acres from June and Ernest Evers, who had been farming the land since 1946. Underground electrical cost $29,000. We built the entrance gate, 4-stranded barbed wire fence from the gate to the taxiway, and made gravel roads so we could drive to our lots. Here's our front entry gate as it was, and Bubba Hunt carved the stone with an address on it so we could see it easily. And here are the founders of San Geronimo Airpark. At least we're still smiling. And here are the founders. That's Mason and Jeanette Hunt, Dennis and Gail Scheit, Dave and Shirley Baker, Daniel and Rosalie Cerna, Lewis and Nancy Mason, Robert and Nancy Bruce, David and Mary Beckett, Terry McFadden, Dan Dreeben, and Wendell Spence. So that was 7 married couples and 3 singles. This presentation is dedicated to the founders of the San Geronimo Airpark for all their hard work and willing spirit to have a place to enjoy flying, and to the Property Owners Association for where they will take us in the future. Here is my first landing at San Geronimo Airpark. It was quite a surprise. I did not know that Bubba Hunt was planning on landing in that plowed field. And I won't tell you what I said, and you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, there's the road that we had through the plowed field to get to the oak tree. But there we are. That's the first landing that I know of. And here is Ernest Evers' family home that was built in the 1900s. He wanted the house moved, Ernest Evers wanted the house moved over to his property, so that's what he did. And it was a beautiful old house, a homestead, and the basement that was under that house is still here on Terry's lot. And there's probably bugs and snakes and everything else in it. But anyway, it was a beautiful old building during that time. And here's our Sunday afternoon. We would always meet under our oak tree. That's as far as we could drive. And everybody brought a Sunday dinner to share. We'd lay it all out and everybody had something good to eat. Here's Carson Gilmer, Rosalie, Nancy, Wanda, Kimberly's friend, and Kimberly, and Terry McFadden. So we all sat around and ate real good. That was our Sunday picnics. And then when the picnic was over, we put everything away in the cars. And here we go, time to go to work. There's Nancy and Lou, Dennis, Gail, and Rosalie. So come on, everybody. Time to go to work. There's the motley crew. And here's what we had to do. Time to pick up rocks. There's Bubba, Nancy, Rosalie, Lou, Dan, Dennis, Wendell, Danny, and Gail. And that's what we did. We drove the tractor, or the car, with a trailer behind it, and everybody picked up rocks. That was our Sunday afternoon exercise. And here's a little bit more. That's just to prove that I was helping. And I wish I had a picture of that rock pile, because after we got through picking them up, we dumped them all in one little spot. And then we had to pay to have them removed. But anyway, there was a lot of rocks in that field. And here's some more rocks. And more rocks. Everybody, look at us. We're walking through the weeds. Mercy. Think about all the snakes that we must have scared. Here we are, more rocks. Everybody helped. The sun was setting. And there's Bubba on the tractor. And the tractor and shredder cost $9,000 at that time. There's Bubba's truck and his trailer. And here is Dennis and Bubba planting grass on the runway. That's what we had to do first. In order to water the runway, Dave Baker took a week's vacation. SGA rented a trencher. Dave dug a trench from the well to the runway and the length of the runway. Then a trench to each of the lots so we could have water. After work and on weekends, they glued 3-inch pipe together. They purchased an aluminum piping system and sprinkler heads to irrigate the runway. The system had to be taken down and set up each time. It was labor intensive. And there's the well house that we had. Bubba built the well house. That's my daughter, Kimberly, and my granddaughter, Jeanette. standing with Bubba. Here is time to water the grass. They had to set it up, water it, move it, and take it down at the end of the day. It cost $18,000 to drill a well. The runway had to be watered 3 times a week. It would drain 2 5,500 gallon holding tanks in a couple of hours. Then we paved the roads in 2002 at a cost of $67,828. Then we had to reseal them in 2007 for $36,649. So we spent a lot of money, but everything that we did, we poured back into the making of this Airpark. And here's someone working on the runway. I don't know whose plane that is, our car. And there we are at the end of the day. Everybody met back under the oak tree. And I think that's the oak tree that's in my front yard. But we had a good time. We all said, well, see you next week. Same time, same place. And there's the roads. They were gravel at first. It cost $54,000 to pave them. And here are the professionals. Bob Bruce said putting this group together was like herding cats. It was a challenge, I'm sure. We had architect Dan Cerna, advertising recording studio Bob Bruce, masonry contractor Mason Bubba Hunt, financial was Terry McFadden, Wendell Spence was an airline pilot, Lewis and Nancy were into real estate. We had Mary Beckett for a medical nurse, and engineer was Dennis Scheit, and a forensic document examiner, Jeanette, me. I don't know what I did, but anyway, I'm here. And sales was Dave Baker, accounting, Shirley Baker, and the airline pilot was Nancy Bruce. 10 very diverse individuals with truly different backgrounds, bound together only by the thread of aviation and a passion for the freedom of flying. And here's the ops building going up in March 1982. Dan Cerna was the architect, and he drew the plans for the San Geronimo Airpark and the ops building. There's Rosalie, Gail, and Dennis. Must have been a cold day. Here are the workers. They all loading brick, making everything work. There's Bubba with the truck. He's unloading the trailer, looks like. And here's almost finished. The ops building cost us $24,789. And it's not finished yet. And then there's the ops building, as much as we got in a picture of it. It looks like we were having a good day. Somebody must be flying in because we're all out there waiting. And here we start the EAA building. There's Lou and Dan and Dennis and Bubba. And I think that's Sig that's up there with Bubba on the top of the scaffolding. Everybody pitched in and did what they could. It was a lot of work. And here's some of the workers. Bubba, Lou, Dave, Dan, and I don't know, I can't recognize anybody else, but they're all working. And there's Bubba sitting down for a change on top of the wall. And there's Dennis, Dan, and Sig. Sig took a lot of the good pictures. And Bubba, and I don't know who that is, he's hidden. And there's my little puppy dog, Bandit. He was always around. And we're getting it done. No roof yet, but it's looking good. There's the ops building, and there is the EAA building without a roof. Looks like Bubba's up on top, and I think that's Sig. And here is the mantle for the fireplace. Bubba donated the stone, the labor, and the mesquite mantle for the EAA. He found that old log on our place. He split it in half and finished it, made a beautiful mantle for the stone fireplace. He had a lot of help. I don't know who to give credit to, but I'm sure he had a lot of help. And they're getting ready to lay it. I think that's Dave up on top of next to the fireplace. There's Bubba and Carl and Dennis. And we're going to setting the mantle. And here's the EAA building dedication. That's Bert Wilcott and Don Stantz. And that's Sig taking pictures. That's the beginning. And here's our logo on a bumper sticker. The EAA Chapter 35. And that's Sig and Bert Wilcott. And Bubba carved a stone so we may fly forever with all the names of the founders on it. And I think it's a beautiful stone. Of course, I may be a little prejudiced. And we're still smiling. Look at those smiles. Founders in 1993. Almost can't see Gail there behind Dennis. But anyway, there we are. And there's Bubba's Chipmunk, 1991. Yeah, we had the hangar for a long while. We built the hangar in 1986 and moved the motorhome out here. And that's what we stayed in every weekend. No house, but we had a hangar for the airplane. And there's the airplane again. And again, sorry about that. And this is the first house. Bubba's been the Cones fireplace. And it's a big one. But he did it right. It's a beautiful house. I think that's the first house that was built here. Bill Cone. And there's Lillian and
Yeah.
Bill Cone.
Christine's.
Somebody saying something?
Sorry, Jeanette.
Okay. And here's another picture. It's a little bit faded, but that's the finished product of Bill Cone's house. And that's my little Cadillac sitting in front of it. And we still have a grass runway, still have gravel roads, but here's some of the houses that were there. Herons built their house right there. Then we have Shriver's hangar, Brown's hangar, O'Day's hangar. And we had the Benson home was built. There's Woodham's hangar and the Smith home. That's what was caught in that picture. And here's the picnic at the Masons. He's still finishing his house. And we all came to join in and enjoy. We still enjoyed the picnics every Sunday. And here's Lou in the snow. I guess it was a little too cold to work. But anyway, the house is getting built. And here's their home. Not all the rock work's done yet, but it's there, coming on. And here's the Masons with Groucho. This is their fireplace, a little kitten named Groucho. I remember him well. And here's the rock player, Lou. Smokey Joe's sitting down and Dan Cerna's watching Lou. He's doing his rock wall on the hangar. And there's Groucho. He's asleep. He don't care what's going on. He's just asleep. And here's BJ and Ron O'Day's home going up. Get the foundation going. That's the beginning. There's their back porch. And the front, the rock work's not done yet, but it's coming on. Almost complete now, got all the rock work done. And there's BJ and Ron's O'Day's Beechcraft Bonanza. Beautiful airplane. And there's their Satabra. And here's the founders in 2012, still grinning. Must be good to all be together. And here's a man named Max Kruger, and with his Waco. I don't know what year the Waco was, but maybe somebody else does. But he was a favorite out here. Always flew in and would give you a ride once in a while. And here we go from the left. There's Jackie, there's Max, Gail, Shirley, Dave, Bubba, Dennis, Jill, Joe, and Dan. We would always come and visit with him. He was a nice guy. And here's the Hunt's hangar from the aerial view with a chipmunk out on the pad. And we still had gravel roads, 1986. I can remember how dusty our cars used to get. But that's just part of life. We had to wait till we get things done. Right here, the old house was over here at the top middle was where its location was. But this part right here in this circle drive of ours was where the trash pile was. And I found a whole lot of old bottles, clay bottles with German writing on them. And I still have some of the bottles that was found there, you know, like the old time medicines and things. I still have a whole box full of those bottles. And I'd like to see if they're worth something one of these days. One had, like I said, German writing on it, and it was a clay bottle. I know that must be whiskey or wine or something from Germany. But anyway, that's what we did. Here's Nan and Rosalie Cerna's home. And here's Bubba and Smokey Joe. And I do not know the other fellow's name. And Dan is standing there. It's going up. And there they are again, all three of them. Doesn't look like Bubba Hunt's doing much work there. Looks like he's jawboning. Well, anyway, there's Rosalie with her home going up. And there's Dan Cerna's Starduster, too. Beautiful plane. There's Art Brown with Veronica Champ. And he was taking Wilson Murray flying with him that day. And there's Bubba Hunt sitting out behind the hangar, carving our mantle for our home. He enjoyed that. There's our home going up in November 1994. And would you believe that morning when I went out there looking at all this amazing work that the guys had done, he says, okay, where do you want your electrical plugs? For the living room. Oh, Lord have mercy. I didn't really get one of the plugs right because it's sitting under the couch today. But anyway, we got them. And there's Bubba inspecting the work going up on our home. Here's the octagon going up and up. And there I am. So You can just add bricklayer to my resume. Of course, you'll never get to see it because it's in the back part of the fireplace. That's the only place he'd let me work. And there's the master carver himself with his beautiful fireplace, which I enjoy today. And there's Bubba and Terry Skybolt. They enjoyed that airplane too. Bubba and I had 5 airplanes in our 53 years of marriage. And here is our home. I've forgotten whose plane that is. It's a kid that's up at Bonita Lake. But anyway, we let him park in the yard when he come over to the airport. He later got a helicopter and didn't need to park there. That's our home. And now here's Dave and Shirley Baker's home going up. Always got to start with the foundation. And there goes the wood up. Now we're up to the insulation. And there goes the roof and the brickwork. And the chimney in the back. There's their hangar going up with their airplane. I forget what type of airplane it is. Forgive me, Dave. Here goes the aluminum up on the outside. And there's the finished home now. And when Dave Baker and Shirley left, Marie Claire bought this home, and she lives there now. And there's Larry and Marie Claire's crewman. She loves flying that airplane. Okay, this is the first landing on the plowed field in 1981, which San Geronimo paid $84,000 for. A 40 by 3,000 foot paved runway in 1997. So there's the difference. And look at all the hangars we built. Isn't that nice? Now here's some homes. We'll start the top left. There's O'Day's home. And there's the Browns. Here's McInnes, Alterno. Here's Jake White's house and his hangar. Here's Kufal has bought this hangar. And here's the goods hangar. But not home yet, but it's coming. There's the Balsams. Here's Tom and Paula Rich. Nelson Amon. Here's Reeves. This is Ramos and Martinez. And you can't really see too much of the Hunt's place. We're covered up with trees. And here's Georgia McCarley's place. So it's coming on, it's building. Ah, there we are. There's Brian and June Good's house, beautiful. And their hangar and their swimming pool. Here's a Nero shot. That's beautiful. And there's their cutty. I call it a cutie. No wheels. And there's their other home away from home. I love motorhomes. That's a beautiful one. Uh-oh. I wonder how many bottles of wine that was. But I think that's a good thing to do with the corks. It's beautiful. And here's Michael's Cessna. He's flying it in. And here is Paula and Tom Rich's home. Looks like a little house on the prairie. I don't see anybody else's home going up at the time. And here's an aerial shot, probably at a later day. And there's Tom and Paula's 150 Cessna. Beautiful airplane. Love it. That's the only kind I can fly. No tail draggers. And we always had a tail dragger, 5 of them. But anyway, Bub and I didn't fit real good in that Cessna. Our shoulders were too wide. Here's Paula and Tom's home in the snow. So we do have snow there sometime. That's beautiful. And there's the sunrise from Paula and Tom's hangar. That's gorgeous. And here's Jake White's aerial shot of his home and his hangar. And he's in aviation. He's got a real big grin on today. There's Carrie and Greg's home. That's beautiful. And there's the back of their home. And we used to celebrate May birthdays, or monthly. We would celebrate whosever birthday it was. So there's Dave Baker and Shirley, Don McCarley and Ruth. And I really don't know the other two's names, but I recognize their faces. And here's some Red Hatters, Ruth Heron and Georgie Brown. And we were called the tree people because, well, I hate to say it, but we got here first and we chose all the trees. And Dan Cerna printed it out that way. He drew up all the plans and everything. And so that's just the way it goes. Everybody else had to plant their own trees. So here we have the Baker's house, and then the Cernas were next. And then we have the Masons and the Shites, and we're under the trees here. And Terry McFadden's plot is here. So then we have a lot of the EAA building is even under the shade of the tree. We have Beckers, Ramos, Reeves, Rich, Balsam, Good, and Kufal. And this is Bob Bruce's lot.
Excuse me, I have a quick question.
Sure.
So I saw in some of the previous pictures that there were no strips of hangers that were up other than the red ones at first. So, and in this picture, you can see 2 of the hangers didn't have doors. Was it originally like a hail shed?
It was originally just without doors, like you say. And then we all added doors to them.
Okay, and then the other ones went up after the red hangers?
Yes, the red hanger
Okay.
was the first one.
That's cool. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Here's a picture. It's a little bit blurred, but it gives you a good look at the runway. And there's in the front here is the EAA building. And there's the ops building. We got a few planes there. And now you can almost see the hunts underneath the trees here. Yes, but this red hangar was the first one we built. The Property Owners Association was formed in July 1st, 2015. The first officers were Brian Good, Ron O'Day, Dennis, Lou, and Dave. And there's 8T8. You can see it from an aerial shot. I love it. You can see the long road down here in the below. Long road that we had to go to get there. And here's some more aerial views of the houses. See a lot of building going on. A lot of places are not finished yet. But this is the Cohn's house. I recognize that. Here's Jake's house in his hangar. And this must be Kufal's, I think. It's right at the end of the runway. This looks like a concrete truck. I don't know whose house they're building, but looks like BJ's and Ron's is being built. And here's old Snoopy. That's a beautiful thing. It's a wind, what do they call them? Tetrahedron. Yeah. Bubba's built a few of those in his life, but I don't remember who built this one. But we have Snoopy on the field. That's always good. And here we got snow and also summer. So we may fly forever, no matter the weather. I think Tom made that up. That's great. That's what we're here for. This San Geronimo Airpark was a pilot's dream. My husband just had a dream of living here, and so did other people. And that's what made us. We all worked together very nicely, all had different views, and there were a few disagreements, but we overcame them. And so here's a beautiful sunset to end this presentation.
Wow.
And that's it.
Amazing.
Any questions?
Fantastic. Wow.
Can I hit that red button up at the top to end the sharing so we can see you again?
Okay. Stop sharing. All right. There I are.
Very good.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Fantastic. Wow.
Appreciate it.
Well done.
That was amazing. I mean, the
Amazing.
accomplishment is amazing. And gosh, I really appreciate you sharing that with us. We need to include many of those archives in the chapter, in the photos in the chapter archives. Several of the photos had Bert Wilcutt, who is the chapter founder.
Right.
And so a lot of history there.
Yes, and I will share. Brian Good is going to make a duplicate of this presentation and keep it for the founders forever.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I learned a lot more than I ever knew about the chapter just in the last 30 minutes.
Gracias.
Great.
Yeah.
I appreciate sharing with you. It was a lot of fun, but it was so
what Jeanette showed is just a snippet of what she has, the records, the foundations. Some of those pictures go back to when there were barbed wire fences that sectioned off pens for cattle right here on this airport. And so the stories that have gone, she shared a lot of them, as Lou and Dave and everybody has. Well, you couldn't land out here in the beginning because the cows were in the pasture and they had to move some of those things back and change. But the beauty and the history from the lightning rods on the old house next door to
it'd be nice
to have today to be able to enjoy because of the toils and hard works that they all went through. And thanks for keeping the documentation of all this, Jeanette, and shared by everybody that put that in there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that could be online for sure. Yeah.
Well, everybody shared their pictures with me, and or I couldn't have done this. So
Those are
we
wonderful,
were
wonderful photographs.
sharing and caring group.
Mhm. And to finally figure out who I knew the faces vaguely, but I didn't know the history at all. It was about the founders. And now it's much more clear to me and much more interesting. Nice to know that. We should make it a mandatory history lesson every couple of years for new members and whatnot.
Okay. I'll
Can do that.
leave that to the.
Tell me the octagonal
Yes,
design.
I found that design in a magazine, and it had 2 octagonal, one on each end. And so we did away with that, had an architect draw up the plans, and Bubba and I had a standoff for about 2 years before we could build it, because it had an upstairs that I had added on upstairs, but his knees were a little bit giving him trouble. So he said, I can't go upstairs, so we're not having that. And I said, oh, yes, we are. I said, I'll come down every Friday night and meet you down the stairs. But he didn't like that too well. So finally I gave in. He was a little tougher than I was. So I gave in, and we made it a one story, which I've not regretted ever since, because then I developed bad knees and had to have new ones. But so I probably wouldn't be going up the second story, but that's the story of it.
I see. I always thought it was an interesting looking house. It has a sort of southwestern Indian kind of quality to it.
Well, you know, Bubba was a 5th generation masonry. And his dad built a beautiful, it almost looked like a castle. And it's over on 410 and let me think of the little town. Anyway, the city park bought that years ago.
Really?
But he had had it since the 1930s. He built it.
Wow.
So there's a history of the masonry in the family.
Very good. Very good. I didn't know it.
Well, he was a builder. There was 2 things he loved, was building and flying.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent talk.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Jeanette. Anybody else have any questions for Jeanette about the history of our awesome airfield? Okay, well, Jeanette, thank you so much for putting it together and educating us on the background of how we got where we are today. It's just amazing to see that.
Okay.
So
Well,
thank
Brian Good will have a duplicate for posterity.
Okay.
For the POA.
Excellent, excellent. Before we close up, let me go around the horn and see if there's anybody that has a note for the group. So I'm just going to go square by square. Just shake your head no if you're on video, or give me a thumbs. So Alan's got nothing. Frank Covington, anything else? Okay. Dave Baker, anything you want to share with the group?
I would like to know if we did any progress on the website about registering them. I still can't get my re-register.
Yeah, so right at the beginning, we talked about Ian Harich has become our content manager. And looking at the weather outside, I suspect Ian is flying his RV-12 right now. But if you get his, I can send it to you, or get his contact info out of the.
I have it.
Okay.
I have it, yeah.
Okay. And he's working with me and Chuck and Jose and Andrea and everyone else to help us populate that. And user interface is one of the things we need to work. So keep bringing that up, because that's got to be fixed. I appreciate that. Anything else?
Dave?
Okay,
Hey,
Dave, the artist.
Is that the way you remembered the history? You were in a lot of those photos.
Oh yeah, Jeanette's done a wonderful job.
I'd
like to nominate Jeanette because she's already got it started.
Thank you.
So Jeanette, we'll follow up with you and see if we can make that happen if you're interested.
All right.
Okay, Dave the Artist Baker, anything else for the group?
Well, I have a pile of newer photos, but I know
Okay.
that seems to know who's who. So
Okay,
that's
we'll get you connected. Michael Riley, anything for the group?
Nope, it was amazing. Thank you.
Okay. Frank Pies, good to see you again. Peggy Fisher, anything for the group? Okay. Okay. Ryan, anything for the group? Ryan, anything for the group?
Nothing from this end. I think we're done.
Okay. Thanks, Brian. Okay. Ryan Newman, anything for the group? Ryan Newman, anything for the group?
No, nothing new going on here. Glad you guys let me attend.
Thanks. Glad to have you. Thanks. Glad to have you. Okay, Andrea, looks like you're driving. Looks like you're driving along there. So thanks. Jose, anything for the group? Jose, anything for the group?
I'm good, Darren. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm good, Darren. Thanks.
Ron, anything you want to share with the group? Ron, anything you want to share?
Nope, all's good. Thank you.
Nope, all's good. Thank you.
Okay, Thomas, anything else you want to share with the group? Thomas, anything else you want to share with the group? Okay, thank you. Paul Wooster, he's driving his son to a driving lesson. Thanks for being with us. Anything you need to share?
Yeah, I did get one volunteer. Thank you to Frank Pies for volunteering to help seal the chairs. I have the sealer at my house. I start my first day of work tomorrow, so we'll get together sometime this week and get those sealed up.
Okay, so thank you, Frank Pies, for getting in touch with Paul. The article that Chuck put in the newsletter has jobs. So if you want to participate, please get in touch with the point of contact there and let them know that you want to participate. Jane Kellogg, anything for the group? Okay. BJ, anything for the group? Okay. Evan Carroll, anything for the group?
Nothing else. Thank you.
Okay. Jeanette, I see a hand clap up there. Did you have anything you want to share?
I just wanted to share that Marie Claire helped me put this presentation together. I'd like to give her part of the credit.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. We will be sure and say thank you to Marie when we see her at the airfield too.
Okay.
Jeff, anything you want to share with the group?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows about this. I caught it on YouTube. It's openppg.com. PPG stands for Power Paraglider, and these guys are using electric motors like a drones and batteries for flying those power paragliders rather than gas motors.
I saw that they have a couple of versions, and one of them is a quad.
Yeah.
And there's no torque effect. They're really, that's going to be cool. And our kids.
Yeah, we just get some better batteries, man.
Yeah.
But what they got now, it's pretty neat because they can get up there and you don't have to have a, power, a thermal. You can get up to the thermals. You don't have to have wind, especially.
Right. Right. We don't have to go jump off a mountain to try to sail. Fine.
Or off the cliff like in San Diego.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Steve Moliterno, anything you want to share with the group?
Yeah, no, nothing for me.
Okay. Doug, anything you want to share with the group?
I'm good, Darren. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Chuck, I'll give you the last word. Anything before we close out the meeting?
So watch for an email. Like I say, we will start doing movie night in the next next several weeks, or within the next month or so, now that it's starting to get dark earlier. Not a huge event, and it'll all be bring your own stuff. For next month, tentatively, we have Casey Fox on schedule to show us his new airplane. It is entirely possible he may be showing us his new airplane from Arizona, because I have not heard any obscenely loud airplane noises at the airport just yet. But we will see how that goes. If any of you all have ideas that you would like to see, especially that lend themselves to the online format, please let me know, because like I said, we have gotten to go inside places that we would not ordinarily be able to go as a chapter. So that's the silver lining in this. And so send me your ideas, give me your thoughts of places that you would like to go, and we'll take you there. So I'm kind of enjoying some of the things that we're able to do, but I really, really would love to have some suggestions. That's all I have, Darren. Thank you so much for hosting, and I guess I'm going to go back to this extraordinarily interesting online training.
Okay, thank you, everyone. This session has been recorded. So once we edit it down to just a meeting portion, a link will be sent out to all the membership, and you'll be able to go back and look at those great pictures that Jeanette showed with us and review some of the interesting discussion information. So with that, please fly safe, stay well, and don't forget about VMC Club next Friday at 6 o'clock.